All right, I think I'm actually live. Sorry about the wait, everybody. Welcome to ShredMentor Live. I'm your host, Jason Aaron Wood. Having a lot of driver update issues tonight, but I'll go ahead and get started in a minute here. But everything in OBS is also all screwed up, so who knows what's going on here. Anyway, unfortunately, horrible frame rate again tonight. I was trying to fix it. Better one of these. Yeah. Anyway, that's within the conditions in general. It's things that everybody low, and so there is that. I have found are really helpful to kind of get your technique where you want it to go, and there are more mental things that you want to do rather than physical aspects. But really, the physical side of guitar playing is the most achievable side of things. Most people tend to stumble when it comes to stuff like theory. Now, maybe the potentially bad news is technique doesn't just happen by itself in a vacuum. So you do need to deal with certain aspects of theory. So even if it is one of your stumbling blocks, I find the system that I teach is actually a pretty good one for helping you to understand. You're not trying to just do all of music theories. That's not a practical sense. So tonight we're going to be some prerequisite type things that go into that and some things to keep in mind. But it's all going to come down to getting these hands to do what they're supposed to do to make the sounds that we want. Okay, so let's talk about what a technique even is in that context. A technique is a method of achieving a particular kind of result, and then I mean across the board, not just a guitar technique. Any technique, in order to be considered, hammer-ons and pull-offs to create a legato effect. Legato meaning smooth. That was a lot. I can actually see the chat. Please let me know in the chat that you can hear me. At a crawl right now, unfortunately. So what you could possibly be focusing on and how you fit that all into to keep in mind. But first, let's talk about the techniques themselves, okay? And I've even created a mind map that my students on the ShredMentor on 8%. Of my frames here. But anyway, well, it looks like Restream is telling us lots of stuff about the chat being ready. That's good. Okay, so the first two things I want you to think about are the fact that on a guitar you have two hands. This will help you to sort of at least keep organized in your head about which techniques there are. There are a lot of different techniques, but one hand or the other generally has to be more responsible for it. So you have obviously all of your picking techniques. You have alternate picking, all downstrokes, palm muting, economy picking and sweep picking, which are kind of two sides of the same coin, really, two aspects of the same exact technique, really. Hybrid picking, finger picking, swybrid picking, hybrid picking, and or even some finger style stuff with sweeping. I forget if I'm missing anything else there, but which is the fretting that you're picking up. To whatever you're going to do. Okay, so kind of going a little bit because I think I forgot that one. It is sort of in my experience. So having a rhythm length in mind so that you can actually proceed instead of stumbling your way through a whole bunch of it's going to fill eight. That's eight. 8 pairs is 6. I said pairs because it's groupings of 4. Now play a third away from that note. You know. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Now, by having focus on all the different aspects of this, did I miss anything? You might say, so that won't do anything. You need to have something. Just pick a time signature. Within that time signature, how long you want the phrase to go on for, and moving this. I mean, eventually, once is everything. That is where a rhythm comes up. It's just boring and monotonous. So, really, just to give you an example, they're just one. Nothing that pops out like. 2, 3, 1, 2. Darren, hey, good to see you, man. Yeah, kind of a bitch here. I'm going and hope that it gets through. So sorry. Thank you for tuning in. We're talking about here just topics. I'm going to keep going. So thank you for letting me know. There's very little I could do about it right now. Yeah, fretting technique. The fretting, but there are hammer-on and pull-offs that you can throw in here and there. Okay, so I'm going to real quick try to deal with my audio issue, because that's how long it takes when I click on something for something to pop up on the screen. Okay, but as I continue doing that, hopefully I can juggle two thoughts at once here. One thing to think about with your with your fretting technique is to make sure that all of the notes ring all the way until the next note, unless you're purposely trying to do staccato. It's one thing I hear a lot with beginners and intermediate players, and honestly some advanced players who just haven't really paid attention to that. Usually by the time you're at an advanced level, though, I hesitate to call that advanced, because that's such a vital piece of it. All audio sources, there it is. So making sure, I hear a lot of accidental staccato in people's play. All right, because what happens, I can tell you what's happening there too, is that you're thinking about which note you need to play next, so you're only worried about the start of it, and the end of the note gets sacrificed because you're thinking about the next note. And then so you're only thinking about the beginning of the note, because it's so important to start the note at the right time and to get to the next note and play the correct note you mean to play, that the end of the note itself actually is sacrificed in that endeavor. Okay, so make sure you really focus on it. We're not just, it's not about pushing it down, good, I played it. No, you haven't fully played it. And now if I want to do staccato, then it's on purpose, right? So don't do accidental staccato. Let's see here. I'm going to do a little something here with my mic and see if I can fix that. Hopefully this is a little better, or it's just totally going to be screwed up. That we'll know then. B1 bio. It's going to take just a minute here, but I mean, maybe it'll take longer because it doesn't seem to be showing me anything. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? WTF not? And Irish Adam. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining me. Sorry you're joining me on a night where everything is screwed up with my video and apparently my audio as well. But I'm going to at least try to address the audio right now. I can play kind of whatever I want to, but I'm not going to be, I don't listen to AC/DC, so probably not going to be playing that. This is not really a show for playing requests or performing for you. This is you're in a classroom right now. There's my Yeti microphone. Let's see if that fixes the audio from that end. And hopefully it actually updates. There we go. Okay. And hopefully that will settle the problem, but we will see, huh? We shall soon see. Let's see what happens here. I'll do something thunderstruck-like just for you, though, because we're talking about technique tonight. Okay, so when you're developing something like, let's say, your legato technique, then, okay? Once again, this is actually, when it comes to your fretting technique, legato, or hammer-ons and pull-offs in particular, are going to probably be the best way, because that's, when you think about it, that is basically nothing but fretting. Strings with your big hand. All right, so sextuplets though. All right, so legato, it's a little hard to get that opening at the beginning of the phrase. So again, because of the okay, and oh, here we go. Here's somebody. Hi, George. You are just. Oh, of course, lock list. Kind of melody, and like so. I mean, I could do anything else very similar. So, like, what I first did was I play a lot with C. Every time. In fact, it's all just these two fingers. I might just repeat. And I've been doing this a little while, so. It's fast, just so you can get an idea of what it could potentially end up sounding like. But it doesn't make anything. But it's not the complete picture of the actual phase and feel where the emphasis is supposed to move. When they hear the music. Oh, good. I'm glad I got rid of you. Okay. So anyway, yeah. Hey. So that's so use legato as your method of the band. Forget that part. I'm just taking I'm aiming for fours. Or just move the fretted notes around, keep the same. The accenting from so I just said you should probably use as high as years into playing because no one wants hammer on. The only thing backwards in reference to a hammer on is melody rather than us. Otherwise, pull off is not get a note here. We'll have sharp pull off a when I remove my finger from the string as a pick. Slide, pull off. Right, so. And I all four fingers. It's basically, alternating in sixes, but it feels like and then 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and... Or 1 1 1 2 1 2 1 2, like triplets in 2/4. All right, 2 different possible accentings for 6. Practice them both equally. You want to really be as good at these overall rhythm patterns as you possibly can be. Okay, so yeah, major issues here. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm hoping that it's kind of making it into tonight might be a wash. So I apologize in advance. Okay, I'll keep going anyway. Sorry. One of the things that I would highly recommend, but you can ask them with me and get a teacher, and I will put how to use that particular scale, which things to do with it to get a very complete. You can just generate as you all really want as that's not this is think of what you're on in terms of this. Okay, how does this help me play? How does it help me play tighter? How does it help me come up with or chord changes? How does this help me sound like how I want my music to sound? You know, how riffs and the instrument beyond the guitar. I'm not talking about just, you know, kind of thing based on tiny baby stuff. Alternate today. I mean, yeah, maybe that's end result. So a lot of different things, like how might I establish vocabulary from his player, but I think that's how many people I see play like it's not particularly musical. Time on things like that. Not even think about it. So rather than only fight that and work training your hand to a memory that sounds like the scales you want your music, right? By musical mode, by music, strategy. On things you're going to need to do over and over and over again. Just approach the things you're doing something different with it. Play it backwards, inside out. Interpret those words however you want. I have a melody that is 1, 2, 3, 4. Still, this is why I say, you know, focus. Could have been pure chromatic. So then, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll start at 7. What the melody. Another example of that's offsets. Okay, so you're still coming back for those notes you skipped over, taking them onto the end, but it's going to get your fingers doing different things. The melody, but you're trying it from the melody, and then you do it in the reverse. Start a note later. So details starting from G. Here, I'm just omit the G and tack it onto the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Oops. So now I'll you use offsets. Technique development and for speed development, which is put notes to a rhythmically friendly number on multiple the scales that make the sound of your music, like I said. Picking and the same G rather than so So I did 2 because you into 2E into 3. The final note was a triplet and bend into the I'm not going to go in. It seems to be faster. I don't make yourself play the entire to that one dimension. Then you consistent, and that's the other side of this. Have a game. It's a big thing that I do of products. Right, guitar friendly and from one phrase to the work back. Economy picking. Tiny. These are the whole. Be your big start at the end. Work back. Okay. That is what as a teacher. I can. You know what? I'm going to look it up though, because why not? The other computer's working great, but I'll just kind of look that up real quick and tell you which one it is. So anyway, that's a big part of it though, is just not squandering your time and going in with a game plan. Me the other day. Your practice don't concentrating is distracting. If you're talking to me, goodbye out of your unless you use practice that for 15 minutes, I practice that 5 minutes. Unless you start, if you have real quick, I'm going to find on the same really get to all as to that. Your fretboard, you start learning your way around it. That I put together. It's very handy. I apologize on Saturday night. His favorite shows on Metal Devastation. Devastation Radio. This show, this up because no. 52 you can come back for another 52 minutes because you want and governed by your brain. So maintain your fluid concentration. An hour, mind off of it. Develop. Plan though. I guess I'll do a practice tool. Let's see. Practice. So that means how the accent whatever other with one track of where you actually I'm here, and then I have to jump down here. That into notice that you're using it becomes a lot harder when it's work on that to be unfriendly. That multiple of 4. Especially